All right, so we got NotebookLM, we got Canvas, we got DocETL, we got Swarm. We're gonna go through them one by one, but this video specifically is just NotebookLM. Didn't really do anything on it because it is not useful at this time. And it's been a year, it came out a year ago, so the hype is misplaced. So why do I think that? And I suppose I'm getting ahead of myself. Nobody really cares about my opinions. You want to know how to use this thing, which you might find it useful. I personally don't, but I imagine if you're taking a class that's entry level, we'll just get to it. But something where a high level overview is good enough, this will do it. Study guides, this will do it. Study guides with answers, this will do it. So let's get into it. You go to the notebooklm.google.com URL here. You can Google it. Just get to this page, and you'll see something like this. You probably will have less notebooks. Just the examples. You hit a new notebook. And there you go. Interface is great. Google's interfaces for all of their products are very streamlined, consistent. Microsoft is just needs to figure this out because every Google service is similar. It's very nice, easy to use. All right, so we'll start with this. This is something that might be useful to summarize. It's an article. It's pretty high level. It's just about the NHTSA's levels of automation. And some kind of liability thing, just, some article. So you want some article, maybe it's a history portion of your textbook, maybe it's the entire history textbook, just something where you just kind of want to get a gist of what's going on. You don't really care about specific details. Go ahead and upload that as a source and a file. So we'll see that it's literally just going to extract the text. Once you upload a document, and you can upload more than one, so let's go ahead and upload a video as well, see what happens. Okay, so here's this looks like someone's crying on there. She never crawled. Okay, we can't watch this. It's very sad. But here's a minute-long video on what is the NHTSA. We'll go ahead and copy the link here and upload it to the notebook that we have previously created. As you can see, it did already give us a summary. The deep dive, I can show that. It's a two-person podcast that's about 8 to 15 minutes of decent quality. Usefulness is up to you, I suppose. So we uploaded a YouTube video, and let's go ahead and make a study guide. Just click that button and it does it on its own. No prompt necessary. This is probably the best feature if you're just trying to do some knowledge gaining on a subject that you don't need specific details. You don't need commands. You don't need formulas. You just need a couple definitions, a couple overviews. And here we go. What is the central flaw of the levels of automation framework as it relates to automated vehicles? Great question. And it's going to give you the answer down here. The central flaw of LOA is its focus on automation capabilities, neglecting the necessary teamwork, collaboration, and interdependency between human and machine for safe operation. Straightforward answer, great question. Not a basic question, something pretty nuanced. If you go through these questions, are able to generate some answers yourself, I think you'd be pretty well versed in the article and the video as well. And there's also a glossary of key terms, which is, it needs to be formatted better. They don't put new lines in there, but it is useful. And then the essay questions are also pretty good. If you're a teacher, you could probably just take this yourself and go to it. So that is pretty much all there is to using it. All right, so you've uploaded documents, you've auto-generated one of these things here. Now you have Gemini. You can ask specific questions to some degree. It expects you to speak to it not as a human being. So it expects you to just ask questions about the document and not discuss anything outside of that. You don't have to follow those rules, but something like ask it to search the internet here, and maybe it's updated its features. No, it didn't even try. This is worse than last time. Okay, so it's just sticking to the sources, and so what I did last time was this. I said,
Gemini 1.5 Pro model. You are this with specifically answering questions based on the provided sources. You have the ability to do other things. How I use you to maximize
your abilities. And let's see if they patch this. It looks like they did kind of patch its ability to go outside of its tasks here. Yeah, look, it's not even trying to go outside. This worked before. Reminding it who it was doesn't seem like that is working. So that's an issue. You're not able to search the web. It's reduced its scope of capabilities. It might even be a distilled 1.5 model now. It might not be doing the whole thing, which isn't ideal. It's not really answering questions. Okay, so it's just a little more prodding. It seems that it is aware that it is an AI model. It doesn't think that it's a Gemini model at this time, and it really is trying to restrict itself to the sources that I provide. It does give a really nice analogy here that is not part of the information I provided, where it compares itself to a librarian. And I think this is worth sharing, and I will move on to the things that people care about. But it's saying perhaps an analogy can illustrate this. Imagine a librarian who's asked to find information about a specific topic. The librarian's knowledge and ability to help are limited to the resources available in the library. If a patron requests information that is not contained in any of the library's books or databases, the librarian cannot provide it, not because they are choosing to withhold information, but because they simply do not have access to it. So what I did before was I tried to get it to explain its full capabilities, and it was actually able to do that. And I don't know why I didn't record it for the life of me, but it had and I didn't even save the requirements, but it had a full list of rules that it was had to stick to, similar to what they were able to do with ChatGPT before. I have no clue why I didn't save it. Maybe I did somewhere, and we'll get lucky. But searching the internet was not one of the abilities it has, and here it is giving its function as an AI, but this isn't quite. It gave a list of rules, like the type of responses it could give. I'm sure with more prompting, I will prompt more, but let's move on. Okay, but most people don't actually care about that either. And what they really are here for is the deep dive conversation. So, in my opinion, it takes about, I don't know, like less than 5 minutes to generate, and it gives you 8 to 15 minutes of podcast back and forth. It sounds very good. It does have a more casual vibe to it, and it gives a summarization, good conversation about the documents that you've uploaded. People seem to try and make podcasts. I don't know. There's one on philosophy that I saw that was pretty good. But yeah, so we'll let that load and we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so here's one podcast that exists that's using NotebookLM that I don't actually listen to, but have listened to one or two of the podcasts, and they were better than all the other ones. It's on philosophy, and they basically it copies and pastes this source, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I frequent this when I'm in a philosophical mood quite often, which hasn't been recently, but they've got summarizations and the actual text of a whole bunch of stuff related to various philosophers and the papers they put out. This takes those and makes a podcast out of it. That's pretty much it. You heard that? Well, I'm sorry. Very personal. She's getting into it. It's a very good. It's very good. It's very good. And then here we did the same for this one. It's gonna give us a 12-minute one.
Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're taking the wheel, so to speak,
right.
on the subject of
Look at that. Haha, taking the wheel. They got puns in there.
That's what we're here to figure out.
Well, and what's so fascinating about this is the idea that the more we rely on automation, even in driving,
Yeah.
the more we need to understand how humans and technology work together. Or
On that scale, back in 2018.
at the time of the accident,
Yeah.
autopilot was considered level 2 automation, and that's where things get interesting.
Level 2. So not quite that hands-free. I'm just a passenger experience.
Very good conversation between two people. Very realistic. There are some kind of weird nuances that you'll notice and will become a little bit annoying and make it extremely identifiable when this service is being used. But fantastic as far as quality goes for just a one-click automation generation. Very good. The summarization itself is a very high-level summary. They're not going to give you too much, but you'll have something that has a lot of sound bites in there that you can maybe use yourself if you want to just copy whatever they're saying, which I'm sure you could do if you're into that. So that is that. And you know, people will say it's useful. I'd say it's not, but go ahead. All right, so that is just the general overview of use for NotebookLM. Really not much feature-wise. Just the chat, the guide here with some of these pre-prompt templates that'll do things for you that are pretty good. I think these are better than any utility you're gonna. These have more utility than the chat itself because it's pretty restricted. One thing I've noticed is that the chat does delete. It is not a persistent chat, which is horrible. Because you're used to them being persistent, but here the chat, as soon as you switch notebooks, the chat is gone. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go over some of the finer quirks that I have with this thing. All right, so first of all, what does it not do?
We don't need no extraction from this life.
In-depth summarizations. It doesn't extract information, which is what I'm really looking for. If I upload a document, I want it to extract specific pieces of information. A general summarization, I don't know who finds that useful. There's not really much that summarization gives that you couldn't get from just skimming, and it's going to take about the same amount of time. So that's right off the bat annoying. So to give an example of what I'm talking about, here's DocETL. This is another tool that does some sort of aggregation of text and output of useful pieces of information from that text or opinions about the text in some way that is desirable. So we have these docs here, as you do with most tools. There's a bunch of operators here in this case. Maybe, I don't know, 6 pages, I can't really count, so, but some number less than 10, more than 5. And if we go back here to the NotebookLM, I went ahead and uploaded those pages, just put the URL in, and as you can see, another issue is it doesn't save the URLs, it just extracts the text, which would be fine. And it does seem to keep the hyperlinks because it's literally just extracting the text, which would be fine, but it's kind of ugly and it would be good to have the actual source included as well. And it's just a URL, it wouldn't take any, but it does offer a little summary here. Pipelines are the fundamental structure, but this, as you can see, this is a summary and it's kind of but it's not really a condensed analysis of the use case, you know what I'm saying? This is a very high level summary. And it does that for each document you give, and then you can ask it to do a further summary. It's called a briefing document, and here you go. If you look at this, it's not the information here is just the headers of what you have. It is summarizing things, but it's not really giving you anything that you wouldn't get without just skimming. So for going through documentation, it wasn't that useful.
Place where Wi-Fi ends, our connection.
It doesn't have web search, so this Gemini model that you can use, it's based off 1.5. It's not as powerful. Now you can, I did try and force it to give me some web searching and it wouldn't do it. There are a list of allowed things that it can do, and I'll try and recreate that. I think I lost it, but you can work with her. She'll work with you, but she won't search the web. She doesn't have that capability.
But I need a specific prompt or topic to write lyrics about.
And it doesn't store documents. So here's the base. This is the NotebookLM that they give you to try and showcase it. And you can see here that they have done a good job of inserting images and it looks all pretty. But if you try and do the same thing, here I have just some papers about Asian architectures that, I would want summarized. And here we go. I uploaded a URL and it just extracts the text from the URL. And that's it. The source is gone. I can't get the URL back. All I have is text. This is completely ugly and the text is poorly formatted. It doesn't even use any artificial intelligence to reformat things, which isn't really a job of AI models anyway. I think we're getting lost in the sauce here. I think there's a P and NP situation, and I think we should be only using these for NP kind of things. Formatting is something that we can already automate with, rejects and other things like that. So those are gonna perform way better. Summarizations, we have some tools that already do that, so it's kind of a gray area, but conversations, those are the kind of things that's not really an algorithm, so it's pretty good at that. Things that you can kind of learn through example without understanding what the examples actually quantify. All right, that is a wrap for that video on I'm not using this service is the conclusion that I will make here. Canvas I might use a little bit more. It also has a similar problem where the model itself isn't an improved version of the model you are already using. So most tasks do not see any advancement. It does have some features that are different, but to say improved, I think is a stretch. Up next is probably going to be an extension of a video by Tech with Tim. So watch his video. I can't guarantee quality assurance, but hopefully we can add some stuff to it that makes it better. Or at least more accessible to other people that are using it. Peace.